And now I'll tell a fable to kings who themselves too have understanding. This is how the hawk addressed the colorful nightingale, carrying her high up among the clouds, gasping her with its claws while she wept piteously, pierced by the cursed claws. He said to her forcefully, "Silly bird, why are you crying out? One far superior to you is holding you. You are going wherever I shall carry you, even if you are a singer. I shall make you my dinner. If I wish, I shall let you go." Or, "Stupid he who would wish to contend against those stronger than he is, for he is deprived of the victory and suffers pains in addition to his humiliation." So spoke the swift flying hawk, the long-winded bird. "As for you, Persis, give heed to justice and do not foster outrageousness, for outrageousness is evil in a worthless mortal, and even a fine man cannot bear her easily, but encounters calamities and then is weighed down under her. The better road is the one towards what is just, passing her by on the other side. Justice wins out over outrageousness when she arrives at the end, but the fool only knows this after he has suffered. For at once oath starts to run along beside crooked judgments, and there is a clamor then when justice is dragged, where men, gift-eaters, carry her off and pronounce verdicts with crooked judgments. But she stays, weeping with the city and the people's abodes, clad in invisibility, bearing evil to the human beings who drive her out and do not deal straight. But those who give straight judgments to foreigners and fellow citizens and do not turn aside from justice at all, their city blooms and the people in it flower. For them, peace, the nurse of the young, is on the earth, and far-seeing Zeus never marks out painful war, nor does famine attend straight judging men, nor calamity, but they share out the festivities, the fruits of the labors they care for. For these the earth bears the means of life in abundance, and on the mountains the oak tree bears acorns on its surface and bees in its center. The woolly sheep are weighed down by their fleece, and their wives give birth to children who resemble their parents. They bloom with good things continuously, and they do not go onto ships, for the grain-giving field bears them crops. But to those who care only for evil outrageousness and cruel deeds, far-seeing Zeus, Cronus' son, marks out justice. Often even a whole city suffers because of an evil man who sins and devises wicked deeds. Upon them Cronus' son brings forth woe from the sky, famine together with pestilence, and the people die away. The women do not give birth, and the households are diminished by the plans of Olympian Zeus. At the other time Cronus' son destroys their broad army or their will, or he takes vengeance upon their ships on the sea. As for you, kings, to ponder this justice yourselves, for among human beings there are immortals nearby who take notice of all those who grind one another down with crooked judgments and have no care for the gods' retribution. Thrice 10,000 are Zeus's immortal guardians of mortal human beings upon the bounteous earth, and they watch over judgments and cruel deeds, clad in invisibility, walking everywhere upon the earth. There is a maiden, Justice, born of Zeus, celebrated and revered by the gods who dwell on Olympus, and whenever someone harms her by crookedly scorning her, she sits down at once beside her father Zeus, Cronus' son, and proclaims the unjust mind of human beings, so that he will take vengeance upon the people for the wickedness of their kings, who think baneful thoughts and bend judgments to one side by pronouncing them crookedly. Bear this in mind, kings, and straighten your discourses, you gift-eaters, and put crooked judgments quite out of your minds. A man contrives evil for himself when he contrives evil for someone else, and an evil plan is most evil for the planner. Zeus's eye, which sees all things and knows all things, perceives this too, if he so wishes, and he is well aware just what kind of justice this is which the city has within it. Right now, I myself would not want to be a just man among human beings, neither I nor a son of mine, since it is evil for a man to be just if the more unjust one will receive greater justice. But I do not anticipate that the counselor Zeus will let things end up this way. Perseus, Lay these things in your heart and give heed to justice, and put violence entirely out of your mind. This is the law that Cronus' son has established for human beings, that fish and beasts and winged birds eat one another, since justice is not among them, but to human beings he has given justice, which is the best by far. For if someone who recognizes what is just is willing to speak it out publicly, then far-seeing Zeus gives him wealth. But whoever willfully swears a false oath, telling a lie in his testimony, he himself is incurably hurt at the same time as he harms justice, and in after times his family is left more obscure, whereas the family of the man who keeps his oath is better in after times. To you, Perseus, you great fool, I will speak my fine thoughts. Misery is there to be grabbed in abundance easily, for smooth is the road and she lives very nearby. But in front of excellence the immortal gods have set sweat, and the path to her is long and steep and rough at first. Yet when one arrives at the top, then it becomes easy, difficult though it still is. The man who thinks of everything by himself, considering what will be better later and in the end, this man is the best of all. That man is fine too, the one who is persuaded by someone who speaks well. But whoever neither thinks by himself nor pays heed to what someone else says and lays it to his heart, that man is good for nothing. So Perseus, you of divine stock, keep working and always bear in mind our behest, so that famine will hate you, and well garland Reverend Demeter will love you and fill your granary with the means of life. For famine is ever the companion of a man who does not work, and gods and men feel resentment against that man whoever lives without working, in his temper like stingless drones that consume the labor of the bees, eating it without working. But as for you, be glad to organize your work properly, so that your granaries will be filled with the means of life in good season. It is from working that men have many sheep and are wealthy, and if you work, you will be dearer by far to immortals and to mortals, for they very much hate men who do not work. Work is not a disgrace at all, but not working is a disgrace, and if you work, the man who does not work will quickly envy you when you are rich. Excellence and fame attend upon riches. Whatever sort you are by fortune, working is better. If you turn your foolish spirit away from other men's possessions towards work, taking care for the means of life as I bid you, shame is not good at providing for a needy man. Shame, which greatly harms men and also benefits them, for shame goes along with poverty and self-confidence goes along with wealth. Property is not to be snatched. God-given is better by far. For if someone grabs great wealth with his hands by violence or plunders it by means of his tongue, as often happens when profit deceives the mind of a human being and shamelessness drives shame away, then the god easily make him obscure, and they diminish that man's household, and wealth attends him for only a short time. It is the same if someone does evil to a suppliant or to a guest, or if he goes up to his own brother's bed, sleeping with his sister-in-law in secret, acting wrongly, or if in his folly he sins against orphan children, or if he rebukes his aged father upon the evil threshold of old age, attacking him with grievous words. Against such a man Zeus himself is enraged, and in the end he imposes a grievous return for unjust works. But as for you, keep your foolish spirit entirely away from these things, according to your capability. Make holy sacrifice to the immortal gods in a hallowed and pure manner, and burn splendid thigh pieces on the altar. At other times, seek propitiation with libations and burnt offerings, both when you go to bed and when the holy light returns, so that their heart and spirit will be propitious to you, so that you may barter for other people's allotment, not someone else for yours. Invite your friend to the feast, but let your enemy be. And above all, call whoever lives near to you. For if something untoward happen to your estate, your neighbor comes ungirt, but your in-laws gird themselves. A bad neighbor is a woe just as much as a good one is a great boon. Whoever has a share in a fine neighbor has a share in good value. Not even a cow would be lost if the neighbor were not bad. Measure out well from your neighbor and pay him back well, with the very same measure and better if you can, so that if you are in need again, you will find him reliable later too. Do not seek profit evilly. Evil profit is as bad as calamities. Be friendly to your friend and go visit those who visit you, and give to him who gives, and do not give to him who does not give. For one gives to a giver, but no one gives to a non-giver. Give is good, grab is bad, is a giver of death. Wait. Give is good, grab is bad, a giver of death. For whatever a man gives willingly, even it is much, he rejoices in the gift and takes pleasure in his spirit. But whoever snatches, relying upon them shamelessness, this congeals his own heart, even if it is little. Yeah, stop right there.